Another day, another dollar. Thank the Lord for another 24. God, I knew that was you. Set the tone Sunday. I just finished up with my home workout. Sunday relaxing. You know, I was working on some other videos for the YouTube channel, but I was like, I need to hop on here and record this video. You know, quick correctional officer video. I'm talking about the drug problem we've been having in prisons and jails nationwide. You know, it's starting to become like almost like an epidemic, you know. For those of you that are just tuning into my channel, you know, discovering my channel, I've been a correctional officer for 13 years. I worked 2 years at one county jail. I've done the other 11 at 2 different federal prisons. You know, I currently work at the federal prison down here in North Carolina, you know, so if you're just tuning in, thank you. You know, but like I said, I wanted to talk more about this drug problem that's been going on. It's pretty rampant these days, and it's getting out of hand. It's getting pretty bad. You know, I work night shift, but I like to do overtime, and I stay over during the day shift, you know. And it's like almost every day I work over, you know, I'm working in the unit, and it's like an officer in another unit, you know, across the way from me is getting on the walkie-talkie, and, you know, it's like such and such unit to compound. I got an inmate that appears to be intoxicated on the unit, you know. And it's like we're having to run over there almost daily. You know, we get there, you know, you might have an inmate fell out, slurring, you know. Just the other day, we had to put one in hand. We always put them in handcuffs. But, you know, I was one of the first people on the scene. You know, the dude he's in his cell slurring. You know, I went to grab him. You know, I had my handcuffs out, and he pulled away. You know, this is the thing I want to stress when it comes to inmates that are intoxicated or appear to be intoxicated. You know, as a correctional officer, your number one priority is staff safety first. You know, don't ever try, you know, to handle an inmate or to restrain an inmate or put an inmate in handcuffs and not have backup, especially if they're intoxicated under the influence of drugs, you know, or they appear to be intoxicated, because at that point they're unpredictable. You don't know what they may do. You know, there's been times in my career where we've had to take inmates down. You know, they high off of drugs, or they done drunk some homemade alcohol, and they're out of control. You know, I remember one time I was working, I'm on the night shift, my regular shift, and me and another officer, it was a female officer, right? We the only two on a unit, and it's like 114 inmates. It's like 12:25 at nighttime. You know, our shift starts at midnight. We had just literally started counting the inmates, you know, making sure, you know, you do your counts at certain times every day, you know, no matter what, you know. So we counted 12 as soon as we get there. So we counting, right? And the way the unit is set up, it's like dormitory style. So you have 2 long rows, and you got the queues that each of the inmates sleep in. So we on this side, you know, we walking down and doing our count with our flashlights. All of a sudden, we just hear some loud ass commotion. We hear a lot of shouting. You know, it just sounded crazy. It didn't sound good at all. So we immediately, you know, my alert, I go from here to here as far as my alert. Like, what the hell's going on the unit? I'm thinking some inmates that got into a fight, you know, because they're not locked in their cells. The type of unit that we work on, it's like dormitory style. So they can get up, leave their cell, go to the bathroom or something if they have to, you know. Some of the inmates stay up all night. You know, you got some people, it'd be like 5 in the morning. Some of the same inmates still be up. I'll be like, man, I don't know how y'all do it. You know, I'm struggling, you know, just on night shift. You know, night shift is tough. But anyways, so we run over there, and it's this particular inmate, he's in the middle of the aisle, screaming, shouting at the top of his lungs. So we like, what the hell is wrong with him? What the hell going on? So we go over there and start talking to him, you know. And it's like he just kind of breaks down, talking about how he's been in prison 30 years. You know, he can't do it no more. He just feel like breaking down, crying, you know. I knew the inmate, you know, because I've been working on this unit for like the past 3 or 4 years, you know. So I tried to talk to him, kind of reason with him, you know. I was like, you know, we doing count right now, you know. If it's not an emergency, you know, if you can just go in your cell, you know, and sit down till we finish count. You know, we count down here, then we got to go upstairs and count the upstairs unit. After we get done with count, I'll come back here and talk to you, you know, see what's really going on, you know. And he wasn't going for it. He was just like, you know, I feel like breaking down. You know, I can't do this anymore. You know, he just stood there And I was like, I asked them again, can you just go in your cell, man, we don't want no problems, this and that. We trying to do this count, and it was to no avail, So he just stood there, so I told him, turn around, I took my handcuffs out, we was about to escort him up the hallway, me and the other officer, and he pulled away, So at that point, we had to put hands on him. Like I said, I had my handcuffs out, so we both grabbed him, we was going to put him in handcuffs, and he just started flailing, pulling away, just belligerent, out of control. So I immediately hopped on my walkie-talkie, hit my, I think we took him to the floor, put him in cuffs real quick. I got on the walkie-talkie like, yo, we need assistance down here. Officer needs assistance on cadre unit. So everybody comes running, the other inmates, most of the inmates, like I said, it's at midnight. So most of the inmates are asleep. Everybody done woke up looking crazy as hell. Like what the hell is going on and whatnot. The lieutenant and, everybody responded and we got him situated and whatnot. And we took him to another unit to put him in the lockdown unit. And it came to find out later that he was under the influence of drugs. He had been smoking K2 and whatnot. So that's a big thing that's going on in the prisons, man. It's like I say, on a daily basis, these inmates are getting high, and it's like I don't understand. I know one thing I've learned in my career, my 13 years of correction, is that prison is going to be prison at the end of the day. You can't stop completely 100%. The flow of the contraband that's coming into the prison. The inmates, they're going to find a way to get the drugs, the dope, all this new stuff that they're getting in. They're going to find a way to get it in regardless, whether it's through visitation, dirty staff. There was a big thing going on a few years ago where the inmates were getting it mailed in with their mail. The new stuff they got, it's like K2, but it's like a synthetic drug. It kind of resembles like a strip of if you remember those Listerine strips you used to put on your tongue that you can get from the drugstore, or the Walmart or somewhere. It kind of resembles that, or it could be this little piece, a rock or something, or, a whole sheet of paper. Inmate get their hands on a whole sheet of paper, man, of this stuff. And it's like what they're doing. I think they are, I don't have all the details on this, but I kind of have heard stories from other officers, in the SIS investigation department that's in charge of this stuff. What they're doing, they'll take a whole sheet, right? And they soak it in water and it dries up and they get all the residue. It's like a powder or whatnot. And that whole sheet may be worth $2,000-$3,000 in prison. They can break it up, sell it to the inmates, But when they were getting the mail in, we used to just we would scan the mail, look through it, But the thing is, let's say they got a magazine and the inmate gets a magazine mailed in, Somebody can put that sheet. It's so small and undetectable. They could put that sheet in between the magazine, you kind of just casually flip it through the magazine, making sure there's no contraband, but that was the thing. That was a big thing a few years ago. And then they made it to where the inmates can't get the original piece of mail anymore. So what they started doing was when the mail comes in, the mailroom department, they scan it, they scan them and they give them a copy of the mail and they put the regular piece of mail in their property till they get released, That has slowed down the drug problem, quite a bit for a little while, because it was like a lot of the contraband that was coming in through the mail, like I said, But here lately, though, this new stuff they have, man, I've been talking to some of the sergeants, or the lieutenants, at my prison, and they were telling me what they're doing. They said they're spraying this shit with rat poison. They're spraying whatever drugs they're getting high off these days. They said they're spraying it with rat poison and some kind of other chemical pesticide, And I'm like this, I understand, like I said, inmates are going to get high. They're going to make homemade alcohol, hooch, this and that. We can't possibly find every piece of contraband in the prison. We can shake the whole prison down. The inmates, one thing about it, they have 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365, to come up with different hiding spots for their stashes. They may find a piece of something that's loose in the ceiling or the wall that they could pull out, they cover stuff up with pictures or something, and they make, man, there's times where we found like cell phones in the unit, and the inmate that made like a false compartment, you know, in their locker, you know, so it looks like it's the real locker, but if you punch it or something or took it out, you know, there's a whole hiding spot full of cell phones and dope, contraband, all kind of stuff they're not supposed to have, you know. But this, like I said, this shit is getting out of hand. You know, it's like they're spraying and getting high off of rat poison, chemicals. I'm talking about fucking chemicals, man, pesticide. They're spraying this stuff and getting high off of stuff like this. It makes no sense, you know. And it's like when you have inmates that are doing that, you know, like I said, you got them, they're staggering. You know, we got to usually when we call it in that an inmate appears to be intoxicated, medical comes coming. They come racing up the hill or down the hill with the medical golf cart, you know, just in case we got to put the inmate on the stretcher, you know. But it's like almost every other day, you know. And like I said, what I wanted to stress is never try to handle an inmate that appears to be intoxicated on your own. I don't care how tough you think you are, how much of a rapper, you know, or a relationship, a working relationship you may have dealt with that inmate. You know, you've been working on a certain unit for 2 years and you know this inmate, you know, when somebody's not in their right mind, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're capable of, you know. You may be just standing there talking with them, trying to read to see what's going on. Next thing you know, boom, they swing on you, you know. Now you got a full out staff assault. You need all the help you can get. So when an inmate appears intoxicated on my unit, you know, or I'm suspicious of some shit, you know, I go ahead and I just go ahead and radio for assistance, you know, just to be safe. I'd rather be safer than sorry, you know. And it's not, you know, I don't have anything to prove as far as being tough, trying to be no cowboy, macho man, none of that, man. You know, I work out a lot. I can lift a lot of weights. You know, I feel like I'm pretty confident in being able to defend myself. But in corrections, that's not a good mentality or a good practice to do. You know, you would rather have reinforcements because you have to think you're outnumbered at all times by the inmates, you know. Let's say an inmate get high on your unit, you know, and it's like just you on the unit. You're the officer by yourself and it's 100 inmates. This inmate may happen to be the shot caller over a gang or something at your prison, and he's on the unit, you know. You go over there and you see he's under the influence. He's slurring or something, man. So you go over there and see what's up. He start getting a little agitated, raising his level and start going from 0 to 100. Y'all have some words. You try to restrain him by yourself. Then his soldiers, you know, the other inmates that he has influence over in his gang, they gang up on you. They try to jump you, something like that. Anything can go down in the prison. So you would rather be safer than sorry. That's going to help you have longevity in your career. You know, I'm like this, you know, why take a chance? Why take a chance? It's not worth it, you know. You get in there, man, you don't know, like I said, you don't know what they capable of. He can pull out a knife, man. He ain't thinking in his right mind. You know, them drugs, it's like it's frying their brains, you know. And I remember when I transferred to the prison I'm at, you know, and there was this particular inmate, man. He's on the 5th floor, right? I'm at the medical center at the federal prison I'm at. He's on the 5th floor, and he can't move or do anything. He's like in a vegetable state. He's been like this since I transferred down to this prison in 2015. It's 2024. It's down there going on 9 years, right? So, like I said, he's like in a vegetable state. The nurses have to come in his cell and feed him, bathe him, wash him. He can't do anything for himself. He's been like this the whole entire time I've been at this prison. So the backstory on him was he was a normal, young, healthy, regular inmate at another prison, right? And he got his hands on a bad batch of the dope, you know, that they like to smoke, the inmates, you know. And it completely fried him. It completely destroyed his body. And now he's a quadriplegic for the rest of his life, you know. And I'd be thinking, you know, I'd be wondering, you know, or I may have a sidebar conversation with an inmate, you know. I'm like, I tell them stories like that. I'm like, y'all don't understand, like this shit that y'all smoking can potentially leave you brain dead. It could leave you like that dude. He's a vegetable. Like I said, he's been like that since I've transferred to this prison 9 years ago. He's probably going to die like that, to be honest. He's not coming back. And you look at his picture ID that's on his cell door, completely normal looking inmate, you know, face, everything. His face now is like his lip droopy. It's like this. He looks just like this, like a damn, he's a vegetable, all from smoking dope, a bad batch, We see this on the street, we've been seeing this epidemic as far as with like the fentanyl, they're lacing drugs, weed, cocaine, people that like to do that type of stuff. Nowadays, those people have to be careful even on the street because they're starting to lace it with fentanyl to make it even more powerful. It's like the hit or the contact high is like 10 times more powerful than it would normally be. Your body can only handle so much, So I'll be looking at these inmates, and it's like we have problematic inmates at the prison I'm at, and it's like they get high almost every other day. I remember we had to put one in restraints and escort him up in medical, and the other officers were like, he just got high like 2 days ago. It's like it's becoming an epidemic, So you got to really be safe when you in these prisons, And I had talked. I want to mention this too. The other day I was working overtime, and the associate warden, he was doing his rounds on the units, and he came on my unit. He doing his rounds. He stopped by the office, and whatnot. And he was like, he had to pull me to the side. He was like, I want to tell you this, man. This drug problem that we're having, man, is getting out of hand, So I've been telling all of the officers, when you're doing your cell searches or pat searching these inmates, make sure you have gloves on, because like he was like stressing that he doesn't want an officer to potentially catch a contact high. Y'all may have seen this on the streets, you may have seen it on TV where a police officer, they have a suspect in custody. He may have some drugs on him in his pocket. They're doing their searches, and you may have seen an officer fall out from the drug. They got exposed to the drug. You know what I'm saying? They called a contact. It wasn't like they were taking it or anything. They were doing their job. But I seen this before. It was a female officer, right? I think she had pat searched the inmate or was going through his cars or searching for something, and she caught a contact, and she was out cold. They had to give her a Narcan pack or Narcan doses to the nose and call the ambulance. This was a police officer on the street. They getting this same type of shit in the prisons and jails, so it's getting out of hand. The best I can tell is remain alert, always be vigilant on your unit, like I said, when you're doing your cell searches and whatnot, always have you some gloves on. Anytime you got to touch an inmate for any reason, pat searching them, putting the chain, the restraints on them, to escort them somewhere, always wear gloves. You just don't know what these inmates may have on them, what diseases they may have. It's just a safety precaution. You don't want to take anything home to your family, or you don't want to expose yourself to anything, that could potentially harm you and whatnot. But yeah, man, you would do good, just like I said, remember when an inmate appears to be intoxicated, whether it's on anything, as far as they could be smoking drugs, dope, K2, weed, cocaine, meth, whatever, alcohol, never try to handle or deal with the inmate by yourself that appears to be under the influence at all. By any means necessary, you want to have backup there with you. Call for some assistance. Shit, hit your body alarm, shout, scream, whatever you got to do, man. Because like I say, they're unpredictable. Us too, we've probably been out and about. Let's say you out at a bar or a club. You know how people get when they start drinking alcohol. Some people just can't control their alcohol. Some people get the drinking and they start turning hostile and angry. They start turning up, bumping into people, man. You slurring all over the place. When it's like you get that liquid courage, somebody look at you the wrong way, you ready to try to fight the whole bar, So that's the same type of effect that's happening on the inmates inside. We've had to fight quite a few. I think it was an officer maybe a few weeks ago. She had to fight an inmate for like a couple minutes before somebody arrived to help her. He was high. I think she slammed him and took him to the floor. It was like she was going at it for like a couple minutes. She finally got to her walkie-talkie and was able to hit her body alarm. But when stuff happens, sometimes things may just happen suddenly. You have to do an instant use of force. You may not have time to reach for your walkie-talkie or call for assistance. Call for help. It may just happen like that. You could be walking over, inmate sitting in his chair, slumped over, off that stuff. They off that stuff, man, leaning hard. You walk over there, you see it, and you like, hey, yo, wake up, you all right? And then he jump up, boom, start swinging, start playing, trying to throw them hands on you or something crazy. They try to rush you. You got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. You know, when stuff happens like that, you know, you have to spring into action. You got to protect yourself. Staff safety is the first thing. Self-defense, you know, try to get away if you can. You got to take them down. Cool. Do what you have to do. You got to whip your OC pepper spray out, spray them in the face. You have to do what you have to do to make sure that you go home how you came in one piece. If y'all like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel at The Ghetto Bodybuilder. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok at The Ghetto Bodybuilder. I got the merchandise for sale. Shop with me. This one of my gym shirts right here. Got the M&M's, Money and Muscles. Every shirt you see on my website, every hoodie, I personally created and came up with the designs and the logos and captions myself. Anytime you purchase some merchandise from me, you personally support me, my creativity, you know, my craft and whatnot, bringing my thoughts and putting them onto a t-shirt or hoodie, man. But yeah, man, stay safe behind that wall. You know, if you're about to come into corrections or you're a rookie, man, take heed to what I'm saying in this video, man. It's important. You know, like I said, it's not going anywhere neither. This drug problem is not going anywhere. You know, the upper management, you know, they're trying to do all this and that, man. They're trying to come up with new policies. If a inmate is found intoxicated on the unit, they get their TV or phone privileges taken away for 24 hours. That's not deterring them from using this dope, smoking this crack, whatever this shit is they're getting in. It's not stopping them. They're getting high, like I say, every day. It's becoming an epidemic, man. If I ever watched that show on Netflix, Painkiller, or about the opioid crisis that happened back in the early mid-2000s, where I think it was Purdue Pharma or something. That's how it's becoming in prison, you know. And then drugs, contraband, you know, homemade alcohol have always been around in prison since the beginning of time, you know. The inmates are going to try to find a way to take their mind off of doing time, you know. One of the ways they do that is by, you know, getting high, drinking alcohol. It just is what it is. Like I said, prison's going to be prison. At the end of the day, you can't possibly control every single piece of contraband that flows into the prison. You know, it's impossible. You know, you just have to do the best you can, you know, when you're doing your cell searches, to try to recover as much as you can. And like I said, if you run across an inmate on your unit or somewhere and they appear to be intoxicated, high off of some kind of crazy drug, you know, make sure you call for assistance before you try to deal with them. You know, keep you a safe distance, you know, because this new stuff they getting in, this shit is some powerful shit. Like I said, they're spraying the drugs, the new synthetic drugs they're getting into prison. They're spraying it with roach killer, insect repellent, man, rat poison, stuff like that. I'm like, it's mind boggling. I'm like, how high are you trying to get? It doesn't make any sense to me, man. But hey, you know, I'm just a correctional officer. My job is to stop them from getting high as much as possible. Y'all got any comments, questions, concerns, any ideas or topics y'all may want me to cover in future videos? Drop a comment in the comment box. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Y'all know how we coming. Let's get motivated.